So I finally got my first 3DS game, and it's Resident Evil The Mercenaries 3D. Being a fan of the previous Resident Evil Mercenaries, I was ecstatic when I bought my copy and ran home to play it. And all I have to say is that I'm very pleased with the improvements. Game starts off with 3 characters, Chris, Jill, and Hunk. Then again, you'll unlock Claire before you can blink, which makes me wonder why they didn't just make her a starting character in the first place. As you move through the campaign, you'll slowly unlock the other characters Rebecca, Barry, Krauser, and Wesker. Nope, no Leon RE4 fans. We'll probably have to wait for a DLC so they can milk the money out of the fanboys. But the thing about the characters are that they have no more use than just selecting melee moves. Beyond that, they're just a skin for preference. Just like in Resident Evil 5 Mercenaries, each character has their own personal arsenal. However, you can use 10 play coins and open the arsenal for any character to use. So if I like Claire's weapon set but I like Chris more, I can simply use 10 play coins to unlock Claire's weapon set for Chris to use. This kind of weapon switching would be good if there was more than just 8 weapon sets, but since there are so few choices, this weapon system is more of a deterrent to keep you from playing any other characters but your favorite. That way people can use Krauser's bow and rocket launchers while wearing a gothic Lolita nurse dress. The game is split through chapters, 1-1, 1-2, 1-3, etc, etc. But all the way up to chapter 3-4 is a damn tutorial. Funny thing about that is you still get graded on your performance. I found it hilarious when I got a C on the how to walk tutorial because I got a little lost. But past the annoying hell of a guy screaming things you already know, such as killing zombies gives you points, they did very good with the game. All of the maps are just ports from RE4 and 5 with different baddies, which is a slight downer, but I really wasn't expecting otherwise, and anyone who was is a complete optimist. But after the tutorials, they threw in a level with exciting rules which added a good taste of variety without fucking up the gameplay. I was even surprised when they threw in a boss fight. Not appealing at first and didn't last long, but I got a nice quick laugh out of it. But out of everything, there is a flaw in the campaign, and it comes back to weapon selecting. Each character has their individual high score, but since you select whose weapons to use, I ended up using Claire's weapon set over and over for each character. Not necessarily a flaw since it's totally optional, but once more it makes character selecting seem pointless. The constant hit of tutorials at the beginning is annoying, but it does let you get used to the interesting new controls and features, such as the most awesome, we can now aim in first person, which makes killing zombies and keeping combos 50 times easier. The game also allows you to move and strafe while aiming, which fixes the biggest blaring complaint I've heard about the Resident Evil series. Beyond that, they even have an option where you can change your button configuration to a makeshift first-person setting the entire time. A little difficult to get used to, but amazingly fun. It felt like playing a James Bond shooter in a zombie-infested arena. Also in the options, you can select the sensitivity for while you aim, which is a major improvement from the previous versions. In the other Mercenaries, I always felt fucked when 2 zombies were coming at me from the right and left side since your character can't turn fast enough to kill both. But now you can select the sensitivity so high that any zombie in a 180-degree angle is going to be eating bullets for breakfast. If a zombie sneaks up from your blind side and grabs you, you get a QuickTime event. I'll admit that it's a step up from spinning the joystick until it breaks, but on the later levels you'll have to push so many buttons in a row it feels like playing Tekken. I'm not normally a big fan of QTE, but QuickTime reaction does feel a little bit more natural since they pop up when I'm actually paying attention and not in the middle of a cutscene like all the damn time in Resident Evil 4. But the biggest and bestest change, your inventory. It is now no longer your biggest enemy but your biggest friend. The inventory system from Resident Evil 5 was a major pain in the ass that required a decent portion of your attention. Otherwise it would get jumbled with stuff you didn't need and end up blocking you from picking up important items. But your inventory in Mercenaries 3D is so clean and organized. Ammo and herbs stack, so grab as much as you can. And if you want to use anything, just tap the touchscreen and it's done. No more opening up a menu that leaves you completely defenseless against the horde of zombies surrounding you. Being pussy-whipped by the RE5 inventory system, I was first reluctant to pick up any ammo and herbs I didn't need. But as soon as I got into the habit of picking up items, I found myself grabbing them like it was crack. This gives you the awesome situation with Rebecca's weapon set as you blow the fuck out of zombies with a grenade launcher and keep picking up more ammo as it falls, giving a near never-ending flow of ammo and zombie giblets. For an extra snack, Capcom decided to give us little skills to upgrade our characters somewhat. You equip these skills to your character and they add tiny bonuses, such as dealing extra damage as your health goes down, or improved healing powers, or more damage dealt to mini-bosses, etc. These little bonuses also level up as you use them, which is kind of cute for a game like this. Although they do stop at level 3 and are quick to level up, still, there are many to unlock and they add a new spice to the game, which is always good for a repetitive arcade game like this. The only real gameplay issue is the difficulty in zombies later in the game. In the later levels, the zombies can take a serious amount of bullets to kill, which makes your combo much harder to keep alive. Claire's weapon set was my favorite, so I was using her for mostly the entire game, and her pistol and melee attacks, while doing fine earlier, needed double the bullets to kill the zombies in the EX rounds. Even her electric grenade launcher rounds and sniper rifle weren't killing zombies in one hit. Without those keeping your combo alive, fighting a guard door mini-boss is a damn nightmare. Rebecca and Claire might as well forget that they have melee attacks since they're so weak that they can't make a follow-up melee kill after shooting a zombie in the head. Saying that, Barry is the best fucking character as he can use a flash grenade to stun everyone in the room and then crush all their fucking skulls one by one with the headbutt. Of course, that's making up for the fact that Magnum ammo is dropped once in a blue moon and has you running away from chainsaw mini-bosses like a little bitch. But through all that, a difficulty curve isn't that much of a real problem. Just a pain for single player. Oh my god, it sounds like a Super Nintendo game. Seriously, the sound is so cheap it might as well be coming out of the speaker of a Wiimote. After a while, your ears will get used to the pathetic gunshots that sound like tapping your nails against a wooden cabinet, but it's still something I would have never expected from a $40 game. But what do I know, this is my first 3DS game, maybe all of them sound like this. There's also a little bit of lag from shooting zombies in the distance by using a pistol or machine gun. And at times, zombies will stop moving for a few seconds, just like in Mercenaries Reunion. But that's not really a bad thing since lagging and still zombies can actually work to your advantage somewhat. One of the complaints I've heard people say is that there's no way they're going to spend $40 on a minigame. Well, the thing of that is that the story mode for Resident Evil 5 was so bad I never played it more than once. To say short, I actually paid $60 for the last Mercenaries. The biggest complaint I've heard about the game is that the save file cannot be deleted from the 3DS. Hearing complaints that it stops people from renting the game actually makes me chuckle. It sounds like a deliberate action to keep amateurs off the online multiplayer, and it seems to be working fine since most players I've played with online are actually fairly talented. Out of everything, my biggest complaint is the lack of characters. You'd think such a simple game like this they'd try to add as much variety and flavor as they could. They did well with skills in some of the chapters, but the lack of characters is depressing. Resident Evil has a mound of characters they could have dug into and used, but didn't. It seems a little lazy that they would put such little effort into the Resident Evil department of the game. But like previously mentioned, the characters are little more than just skins for preference and have no practical value outside of a choice for melee moves. Although, since most online players I see are playing as weak melee characters like Jill and Rebecca, it makes me wonder if they're using those weak characters for their melee skills or just their tits. And the demo for Resident Evil Revelations was fucking amazing. After the Resident Evil 5 DLC Lost in Nightmares, I figured that Capcom had forgotten how to make a good survival horror. But it looks like someone over there played Nightmare House 2 and said, "You know, that's a really scary game. Let's take some notes and make the best Resident Evil game ever." And they really are on the right track to making the best Resident Evil game ever. Considering my room was dark and humid, I actually felt like I was on that rusty old boat. I was so into the moment I didn't even question why there were bats flying around in the middle of the ocean. The immersion was broken slightly as a giant Y button pops up showing that I'm standing near an interactable item or door, but it's easy to forget when the lights turn off and a monster charges at you at full speed. The demo is ridiculously short, which gives Capcom plenty of time to fuck up the diamond they just gave me. But if the rest of the game plays as well as this demo, I feel that we can finally play a new survival horror game that breaks this action phase they've all been going through recently. This game is so amazing, all I can do is pray that they don't fuck it up.